We are back with another episode of the Blueprint Podcast. It's been a minute since I've recorded an episode. I think I was a little over optimistic. I don't think that's the right word, but close enough. I thought I was going to be able to film when I was in Europe for 5 weeks. Turns out did not have time. So here we are. But I'm so excited about our guest today, the wonderful, amazing Jenna. I'll let her introduce herself.
Wow, that was a nice introduction. Hi, I'm Jenna, and I've been friends with Maya for a while now. I don't know, you're just one of my favorite people, and I'm so excited to
Aw,
be on your podcast.
thank you. Well, I'm very happy to have you here. Before we dive in, I'm just gonna give like a funny story.
Please do.
How me and Jenna actually met.
Yes.
Okay. So I think this is hilarious because it makes me kind of seem like an asshole if we're being honest. 2015? Was it 2015?
I looked up the date. It was
Yeah,
March 13th, 2016.
March 13th, 2016. We are at Justin Bieber's Purpose Tour in Portland, and we both have meet and greet that day. And I remember I'm sitting in like the little, you know how there's like a little VIP like pre-party room. And this girl comes up to me, or I sit down next to her. I don't really remember how it happened, but I just remember sitting next to you and we're talking. And maybe we were charging our phones. I don't remember. And we're talking. And I remember thinking, wow, this girl's so nice. Like, how cool. Like, I just thought she was so great. Okay. I had no idea it was Jenna. Okay. Because then, like, a few years later, we like actually became friends. And you were like, oh, yeah, I remember we met at Justin. And I was like, that was you?
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I feel horrible that like you remembered it was me. And I just thought you was just some random girl. Like, every time when I thought of my memories.
Yeah. So what was kind of going through my brain at that time was like, I went alone. I think you were there with a friend, and I recognized you from Twitter because leading up to the concert, I was, of course, like so excited to see what the meet and greet photos would look like because I had meet and greet. And so the two accounts that stood out to me were yours and our other friend Rebecca's. And so you two, I like followed you and turned, this is so embarrassing, turned on your post notifications because I wanted updates for the Justin Bieber concerts.
That is amazing.
Anyways, I saw you there with your friend and I was like, I recognize her. She looks like a friendly face. Let me go ask if I can sit next to her until we get called down to do the meet and greet. And you were so nice. I think I told you in the moment that I recognized you and I asked you like if you'd met a bunch of people and like, yeah, I've met this person and this person. And I asked to see pictures and you're like, sure. Um, but yeah, then we actually became friends, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we've met before." And you're like,
I was
"What?"
like, what?
Yeah.
Because we didn't like, I feel like it was about like, I guess only like a year later was when we kind of like started to be around each other more because we were at like more of the same shows. And then I feel like we became like actual friends in like 2018.
Yeah, which is so tragic because
This is the worst part of the story, actually.
the worst part of this whole thing is that we lived, I'm pretty sure, I want to say like 3 miles,
From each
if
other.
that, from each other. The first time we ever hung out outside of a show was your going away party for moving to LA.
Yeah. And you were like, how long have you lived here? And I was like,
Yeah.
forever. And you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, I live down the street. I can't believe we found out the week that I moved that we were basically neighbors.
And we became so close. Like so
Yeah.
close. Literally, I'm pretty sure like the day or day after you like left for LA. I'm not even kidding. It was like you left for LA and we became really, really close. And I don't
That's so sad. Do you want to move? I feel like we've talked about this before. Like,
ah, it's a tough one, the moving thing, because I've lived here in Washington my whole life. I am in a long distance relationship and he lives in New York. So there have been very real conversations about, he really, really wants to move here and has wanted to move here since before we were together,
that's nice.
but which is really nice.
That's nice for you.
Yeah. But there are things in our future together where it will make more sense for me to live there for a couple years potentially.
Yeah.
So that's the only place that I've really like truly considered moving to.
So you're open to that. Like you would be willing to move to New York.
If you see someone as your future, it's like you're gonna do anything. So
Ah, I can't relate, but I love like I will say like I've loved like watching you, I guess, fall in love, you know? Like I feel like I've kind of seen so many chapters of your life now and like been someone who's gotten to like listen to you share different things, and so to see you find someone and like watch you guys grow and just like you fall in love, it's been really cute. And I'm very happy for
thanks.
you.
Oh,
Okay.
that's so sweet. Yeah, that's so nice to hear from you because you have seen a lot of chapters of my life, and I think a lot of them, like we got really, really close during COVID.
Mm,
I think that was a really lonely chapter for a lot of
everyone.
people.
Like everyone.
That's not a unique thought. I'm just saying, like, we were very close during that time. I think FaceTiming almost every day. And
Yeah.
I was in a headspace at that point, particularly where I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna ever have the capacity to fall in love. Like, I don't, that feeling of like being in love is so far removed from where I'm at mentally that like I couldn't even fathom it. Fall in
It's
love.
easy to like think that way, especially when you're, immersed in social media and like you see all these people around you, and I feel like there's this like notion that you should be in love and married and by your early 20s. My two best friends just got married this year.
Yeah.
Like I haven't even been in a serious relationship, but I also like I don't crave being in a relationship yet. Like
Good for you.
I could not see myself being married right now. Like I can't even commit full time to my cat. Like
You have babysitters for your cat, and that's so okay.
yeah, like even that's like a really big commitment. And I would die for my cat. I love her more than life,
Oh,
And I know you feel that way about your dog, so you get it.
anyway, next topic.
Like fan and like meet and greet thing and like the way that fans have relationships with artists, I feel like has evolved so much, especially like since COVID and like how available artists are online.
Mhm.
And I feel like
Yeah.
we didn't quite have that as much like when we were younger. And then obviously as we like started getting older, it like started to shift. But like as a Justin Bieber fan, it's not like we had easy access to be able to
No.
communicate with him. Like not at all. Like
I
he
think
on
that.
Twitter, but that was about it.
Mhm. I remember the day he followed me on Twitter was like the best day of my life. And it's like 100% like not him. Like it's somebody like running his Twitter and I'm like, "Oh my God, Justin Bieber followed." And that's like, yeah.
I was like 25 when he followed me. Like he followed me on Twitter 2 years ago, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And I cried. Like
What
I
DM'd
fell off
you?
the couch and I was like, I know it's not him, but like this is all I've wanted. And then I got a DM too because I tweeted like this is not real, and then the DM was like it's real, and I lost my shit.
Yeah, I would too. That's insane. I'd be like, "Oh my God, he's in love with me." We're seeing it more and more now of like what's being defined as appropriate versus inappropriate relationships or conversations or, like things like that just with between artists and fans and or people with a platform and fans.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't it's a tricky line to try to
Well,
balance.
I mean, for starters, I feel like the term parasocial relationship is like fairly new. So it's really interesting to like see it be used now and see people discuss it. And I just think like that fan to artist or fan to someone with a platform like relationship is so delicate. I mean, I think any relationship where someone is in essentially a position of power, right?
Totally.
And a lot of people don't see it that way, but that's what it is. Like
Yeah.
you have these people who like would do anything for you, that just like care about you in such a like pure way.
Mhm.
And with that comes a lot of responsibility to not take advantage of that.
For sure. Oh, I think that, and especially if you factor in age differences, like any other aspects of positions of power.
Yeah.
Like you can look at a situation where an artist is 17 and their fan is 17. And it's like there's not the position of power beyond the platform that's like, oh, they have a platform and they're 35 and their fan is 14.
Yeah.
It's like there are levels to it for sure. I believe all parasocial relationships are dangerous, but I guess the point I'm just trying to get across is that there can be levels to it and there can be intersecting um yeah, just
Yeah.
levels of
Yeah.
severity for
I,
sure.
I I mean, I think like as a fan, obviously you want to be able to communicate with your favorite artists, and that like
First.
someone who's like really big on fan engagement, and like I think that fan to artist relationship should be more of a person to person relationship, you know? Like I like when an artist is treating their fans as people and not as, just
Pawns or
yeah,
yeah.
like a way to make money, you know? But then again, there is still that like delicate balance. The past few years, I think, as I went from being the chronically online fan that was always tweeting artists to helping artists figure out what they are tweeting, like
Mhm.
obviously that has changed a little for like how I interact with artists online.
Way that I think of it is I'm like, okay, what feels appropriate to me? I'm like, at this point, from what I've seen, I'm like, I feel like the only thing I'm comfortable with even seeing is like people addressing their fans like as a whole, like, or I don't even like meet and greets to an extent. Like they kind of, I do. Let me
Oh,
start
I'm
over.
very anti meet and greets. I talk about this all the time.
Let me start over.
Okay.
I don't like the way meet and greets are now.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of really highlights the power dynamic.
I agree.
And yeah, so right now I'm at a place where I'm very like very cautious and very like maybe you should just be like, "Hey, you fans, thank you for the support," because I'm like so scared. I've like been traumatized
So you're
about
like 180 flip like on the opposite
a
end.
little bit just because I'm like I've seen how dangerous it can get not only for the fans but for
For the
the
artist.
yes. It's interesting and I think there should be an entire psychological study on parasocial.
No, there should be. Going back to like the meet and greet thing, like I think something that started as a way for fans to, enjoy meeting their favorite artists has turned into a way to just profit off of that, passion. And um a lot of the time the artist is not enjoying it, right? Like imagine having to stand there for 2 hours and just meet so many people and have no actual genuine interaction, like human to human interaction. It's like a hi, I love you, bye, like, or like a smile for the photo and then leave. I do think that there is a way to still have a genuine, authentic VIP experiences, but I just don't think it should be done in that way.
What does that ideal scenario look like for you? Like what would
um,
an authentic VIP experience look like?
ideal, I don't know, like I mean, I've always like loved like just like super unique things. So, like I would love to like I would spend more money to go and like play ping pong with my favorite artists like before show.
Right?
We're playing it's a ping pong tournament, you know?
Yeah,
Or
that's so
like,
funny.
like just like things like that. Or I mean I don't want to like give away too many of my ideas because I eventually want to make money off of a lot of them.
For
But
sure. Yeah.
I do think that there's a way to have it be like a more relaxed setting, like a more person to person scenario, um, with with the artist being able to still make money, but the
Mhm.
fans are leaving feeling more fulfilled and It's not just this like shitty. Like I've had some really shitty meet and greets where you walk in and it's like, did I even meet the person? Like they could have been a cardboard cutout and I would have had no idea.
My meet and greet with Justin Bieber was like you had so many security guards and they were saying like he doesn't feel well today to each individual person. He doesn't feel well today. Don't touch him. Don't ask for a hug. Don't like talk to him for longer than we like whatever. Like basically giving us this long set of like very specific rules and guidelines.
Yeah.
Um, and my meet and greet I think lasted 15 seconds. I'm not quite sure. But it was very like, hi, love you, bye.
Yeah.
And it's like he canceled his meet and greet that tour.
Yeah. Like one or two shows after that.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine you feel like a little
A
like
doll.
like a carnival ride that's being
That's such a good way to put it. It's like put a token in and then it's
you go
like,
on the merry-go-round and then you
yeah,
leave.
then you get off. Yeah.
Like that's so dehumanizing for the artist too.
It's crazy how, I mean, and at the end of the day, they're people. Like we're all equally human. And that's I think the craziest part for me when it comes to like parasocial relationships and that fan to artist relationship and like and I'm sitting here like I have, like I'm about to follow Five Sauce around on tour because I just love the band a lot.
Yeah.
So like, it's weird to like dissect it, but at the end of the day, like they're just humans that happen to be good looking and can play an instrument. Like that's literally all it is.
Like
And
they just
I'm
happen
sitting
to be
here
that.
like, oh my God, he just looked at me at the show. Like, and then that's it, And it's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I guess a question that we're obviously not going to be able to answer in a 45-minute podcast, however long this is, like, where's the line?
Jenna, I don't
Yeah.
even know if you know this, but like a few years back, I think we were just, on FaceTime like we typically were, and I think I was probably telling you a story and of some sort, or I was like upset, like someone may have made me upset, or I don't remember what it was, but you gave me a piece of advice, or I don't even know if it was advice. You just made a statement that like genuinely has stuck with me since, and like I now think like it crosses my mind all the time. And I don't remember the exact wording, but it was something along the lines of, when you share a story or you tell someone about, something that happened in your life, then it's no longer just yours.
Hmm.
That thing then is, open to their judgment and their opinion on whatever that situation was. Um, and that really stuck with me. And, always now when I'm telling people things, I think about it first. I'm like, okay, is this someone that is gonna make me feel bad, or change what happened based off like their reaction to it.
Yeah.
Or just like makes me want to be more diligent and like specific about who I say things to. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yes. I think you in particular went through a period of time where, you love to make friends and you love to have friends. And I think you were gaining a bit of recognition in certain communities. And I felt protective of you in the sense that I was saying, maybe keep your cards a little closer to your chest because not everyone has the best of intentions when it comes to the position that you're in. And I think it was easier for me to see that as someone who was more on the outside, who could see more clearly how people were approaching you than maybe you could, especially since you are very open to people. You're very much a people person. Like you could make friends with anyone. Like you make friends wherever you go. And I think that felt like or has historically been a really safe thing for you. But sometimes, like I said, when you're gaining more recognition in certain communities, it's like you don't know what people's intentions are. And, sometimes people will project their jealousy or their own insecurities onto experiences that you have that are super pure and mean a lot to you. And I wasn't really trying to scare you
No,
or,
it didn't scare me.
yeah.
It definitely came from like a good place, and it was just like you said, like I'm very social. I like
Mhm.
want to be friends with everyone. Don't I don't question people's intentions until they give me a reason to.
Hmm. And I'm
Um,
so the opposite. I'm
a
like,
lot
not
of people
me. I don't
are,
trust anyone.
and I think I've had to learn kind of the hard way in some scenarios. That doesn't always work in my favor.
Right.
Definitely like I'm very happy with the circle of people that I have now. Um, doesn't mean that I'm still not friends with everyone. It's just not everyone knows everything, you know?
I
And
think there's an aspect of it too, where it's like they could even be your very close friends that you trust. For example, like we were talking about my relationship earlier, it's like in the early stages of falling in love, like even though I trust the people that are in my inner circle so much and I know that they would be happy for me, it's like there's something so special about keeping something so precious to yourself.
yeah,
Um, and maybe it doesn't feel that way for everyone, but I think there is something so special about keeping something to yourself and not considering the opinions of others, especially if it's something so sweet to you. Like, I think maybe I'm just a little bit fragile in the sense that I could tell someone a story and they're like, that's weird. And I'd be like, is it weird? Like, that's all I think about. Um, but no, yeah, I think keeping things to yourself and keeping things private has a lot of value in certain scenarios. So
no, I mean, I think you're totally right. Like I think I've gotten a lot more private as I needed to
yeah.
over the past few years, but like 2018 going into like 2019, I like would have just here, like come be my friend, like live in my apartment, like stay here. I like ran a hotel.
You sure did.
I would let anyone stay at my apartment.
I remember.
Like I think one time I had like 15 people and everyone was like like sleeping on the floor and like it was a party. They broke my toilet. Relationships change and evolve as you grow and
100%.
you go through chapters of your life where you're close to different people. And I mean we were kind of just slightly talking about this the other day, and
Yeah,
it's just like such a natural part of life to,
totally.
I used to be scared of that though.
Are
Like
you
I
still changing?
no losing anyone.
Oh,
Like I mean I still am, but
unpack that.
I remember talking in therapy last year, um how like I just have this like a horrifying fear of losing people, and she was like, I hate to tell you, but like you can't live in that fear, like you can't do anything about it. She was like, how many of your friends that you met when you were like 3 years old are you still friends with? And I was like, oh, like one. She was like,
Mhm.
exactly. Like as you grow up, people move and life happens, but you can't like not build new relationships out of fear that they're gonna end. She's like,
Yeah.
we all die anyways. Every relationship's gonna end. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks
my
for
favorite is
reminding
when I tell
me.
yeah, you tell your therapist a big fear of yours, and they're like, "Well, it's gonna happen." You're like, "Oh my gosh, wow, thank you so much."
Listen, my therapist was great. She
Yeah,
fired me though.
she fired you.
Yeah, she was like, I don't think you need me anymore. And I was like, oh, really? Like
That's so
I
funny.
do, but no.
I love that you graduated therapy. I'm so happy
Graduated.
for you. I'm like, I'm nowhere near that, but congrats. Isn't that such a funny phenomenon? Like trying to be your therapist's like easiest client. I remember when I was like 17, I would go into therapy and be like, thank God for my therapist that she's gonna see me today because all I have to talk about is my drama at school. Meanwhile, it's like not okay to talk about on a podcast.
I love it. I love it.
Like, meanwhile, I'm like, I don't want to get into it, but anyways, much deeper, darker issues below the surface besides like what Jessica said at school. It's like, okay.
Well, therapy's so cool. Like, I mean, both of you and I are like very like pro, like talk to someone, talk to them.
Oh, yes.
There is no shame there. Like, it is a great tool to have.
Go to therapy, everyone.
Everyone should go to therapy. Like that, if you get anything from this podcast, go to
Go
therapy.
to therapy.
I don't care how okay you think you are, you're not.
You're not.
Like, you have things to work through. We all do. We're human. Your therapist is going to therapy.
Make you feel better or worse that your therapist goes to therapy?
I love it because it just, they're just as human. But then it's also like, I'm coming to you with my problems because you're supposed to fix them, but you also probably have the same exact problems. But it's like one of those things where like it's really easy to give people advice, but it's not easy to take your own advice. Oh my God, my cat almost knocked over the computer.
Classic.
No, I will say, like, well, okay, this is actually a fun fact. So when I was a kid, I would like beg my mom to let me go to any sort of like therapy or counseling because I thought it was fun. Because like as like a little kid, like if my brother had like different like therapies or like that sort of thing, like I always just tagged along and I was like jealous. Like I wanted to go. I remember like I want to go play with the toys at my brother's counselor's office. Like, why don't I get to go see her? And so finally when my parents got divorced, I think that was a good enough excuse and they were like, fine.
Fine, you can go to therapy and you just show up to like some boring lady's office with a chair and you're like, where are all the toys?
No, well, I went to I think my school counselor for a while and honestly like I genuinely just loved it. Like I just thought it was fun as like a kid, which is like kind of weird that I just like really enjoyed that stuff. But I mean, I did want to be a social worker for a really long time. So like I love, psychology and like I love talking, clearly.
What?
Like, okay, next
my
topic.
my imagination just goes crazy.
I say this to people all the time. Like I am way more scared of like not living than I am of dying. And what I mean by that is like as long as I'm living every day to the fullest and like I don't really save money, but I'm such a big believer in like if you want to do something, just go do it. Like I don't have a bucket list, I have a to-do list.
Wow. I love that.
So, like why am I gonna wait to do these things?
You're making me think right now. It's like you really do a lot of amazing things. And for me, it's like I take 2 naps a day, hang out.
That is your like
It's not.
Okay.
It's not. Like, let's be so real right now. That's not living life to the fullest, and I feel it in my core.
What could you do to like change your life so that your life is like
I can't.
I like don't know how we got here.
Oh no, man. I just need to get out of my house more.
Like make a list of just random fun things that you want to do and then just go do them.
So true.
I love craft projects. I will go to Michael's. I basically have Michael's in my closet. Not like Michael's in my closet,
She collects men named Michael and keeps them in her closet.
Do not. There is a picture of Michael Clifford over there somewhere, but he's not in my closet. We really do. We should be friends.
We should take this from a podcast to just like stand up.
You laugh at my jokes.
Always.
And not everyone does. But I also think you're really funny.
Oh, thanks. We're a perfect duo. We just think each other are so
on
funny.
that note, we're gonna end the podcast now because me and Jenna are gonna go be comedians. So come to a stand-up comedy show not anytime near you.
Not anytime ever, never near you.
Listen, I think I could be a stand-up comedian sometimes.
Okay.
I memorized Matt Rife's entire set, like word for word.
What?
Well, not entire set, just like three of his jokes because I saw them so many times. I literally could recite them. Are they as funny when I do them? No, but like I can do them. I should have like a daily joke, like a dad joke at the end of every. Actually, I can't do dad jokes. I don't understand them ever.
You don't understand them?
I have a really like it always takes me a sec, and then like it's funny. Like I realize they're funny after everyone else is like over it.
You don't understand them, but do you over lay down them?
See, I don't get. I don't understand what you just said.
On that note.
Okay. On that note, thank you for listening. Comment your best dad joke because apparently I won't understand it. And we'll be back soon with the oh my god, with another episode. Hopefully.
Thanks for having me on.
Bye.